Annaleigh Ashford, and you're watching In Focus.
This is a Colorado Arts In Focus update with Eden Lane.
Now here's my full conversation with Colorado native Annaleigh Ashford. The Tony Award nominee was in town in advance of her cabaret show, Lost in the Stars, at the Garner Galleria.
We love you. I'm so happy that we're doing this.
Welcome home. I guess that's where we have to start. Welcome home.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so good to be back. I have to tell you, the altitude always makes me feel a little bit funny, but it kind of makes me feel like I'm stoned. So it's like I'm home.
Well, it is Colorado.
I know. How about that? Every time I tell people I'm from Denver, that's their immediate response. Oh, do you smoke pot? I actually am not a pot smoker, but it's a great conversation starter.
Great conversation starter. Not on tour yet, coming back to us again, but you're here with your own cabaret show. That's a very special kind of animal, different set of muscles from the other work that you do on television and on Broadway, getting Tony nominations and all of that. So tell me how this started.
I have always been a lover of the art form of cabaret. My original voice teacher when I was 7 years old, her name was Kid Andre, and she had a great dance studio in Westminster, and she actually owned a nightclub in the 70s in downtown Denver called Kids Club. So she really taught me the foundations and the basics of cabaret performance from the age of 7, which is kind of unusual. I know
that's even earlier than Judy Garland.
I know. And she loved Judy Garland. Judy Garland was her favorite performer. So the first karaoke tape of music that we ever went through was Judy Garland at Carnegie Hall. So I talk about Miss Kit in the show, and I explain how important she was to me and what a wonderful, beautiful character she was and how gifted of a performer she was. And I do a song from Judy at Carnegie Hall with kind of a twist. It's really fun.
You don't want to say.
Well, actually, you can watch it online because I did it for Broadway.com. It's Come Rain or Come Shine. It's beautiful. We have an accordion, and it's just a great arrangement. Will Van Dyke is our stellar music director, and the two of us really came together. Yeah, we wrote the show together, and also my best friend in the world, Craig Jessup /Breedlove, who just opened for Lady Gaga on her European tour. He's an incredible musician. His mom and dad were both cabaret singers, so he also contributes and helps me. I write, and then I go to him, and he helps me edit. And really, the show is such an extension of my heart, and I'm really so happy and grateful that I get to share it with my friends and family in Denver.
I got to see little clips of it in one of my very favorite cabarets in all of the country, 54 Below.
Oh, yes.
I have a history with that room that we won't go into because we don't have time.
Okay, we'll have
But
fun
what's
later.
your history with 54 Below?
54 Below has been such a gift to, I think, the New York theater community. And we really developed the show Lost in the Stars around 54 Below, and I was concerned kind of about some of the elements of taking it on the road. But then, I realized that my 10-minute Donna Summer medley, that is an ode to Donna Summer, the angel, the disco goddess herself, and our description of the nightclub Studio 54 is really, applicable to everybody in the country, because everybody knows what Studio 54 was. So we're sharing a little bit of the history of 54 Below, and it was such a great space for us to explore the show, to find the show, and to really figure it out.
Your career has really sort of blossomed full-fledged in the last couple of years, and I know that you have an icon that you happen to like, Liza Minnelli, and I know you have your own little story about Liza Minnelli, but there'll be young performers that are going to come to see you in your hometown that will have that sort of feeling about you. Tell me what that feels like.
That is insane to me. That is so crazy. I feel like if anybody were to ever have that feeling, I honor it, I treasure it, and I'm so grateful for it. And I also just have to say that I have been so inspired by people like Liza Minnelli, of course Judy Garland, Babs, Bette Midler, Patti LuPone, the list goes on and on. So if we can continue to create a joy and a love for performing, and especially for the art form of cabaret, I'm down. I have to tell you, Liza with a Z is pretty much a perfect show. That's all I have to say.
I happen to agree with you. I do think it's a pretty perfect show.
Perfect.
And there's another Colorado connection with that show that we'll talk about later as well. Yeah. Now, the other thing that's going to happen is these young performers will see you here around the country. They'll come to New York and see you on Broadway. They'll watch you on Showtime. And they're going to want to have a career like yours. They're going to want to be able to do the work that you do. What's your advice to them before they leave a place like Colorado or wherever they live to go off and pursue that dream? What lessons did you learn?
You know, I'm so lucky that I grew up in a town like Denver that has a thriving, beautiful theater community. And, you know, I did my very first show at the theater on Broadway. I played Tina Denmark in Ruthless. That's a pretty great way to start your life in the theater.
Not too bad.
Not too bad at all. So I have to say that I learned so much, not just from doing shows in the Denver metro area, but also from the beautiful, beautiful performers that I got to spend time with, work from, and learn from. And I guess my advice is to try to explore as many performing opportunities as you possibly can. Also, one of the best resources that I had in Denver was class. I got to take voice lessons, and I got to take dance lessons, and I took acting, and any class that you can find that you can get your hands on, just take it. And I read every book I could ever find. I remember reading Uta Hagen's Respect for Acting at like 15. And it, like, David and Julie Payne opened my eyes to all these beautiful acting books. They were incredible actors in town, director as well, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind and changed my life. So read Respect for Acting. Respect for Acting is a really good one to start with.
Any practical tip before they make the leap to go off to the big city to pursue a stage career?
I'm really lucky because I went to college when I went to the big city, so I was in kind of a sheltered environment, but save your money because it's expensive. New York City is, my husband always says, he goes, the odometer of how much I'm spending for the day just starts. He goes, it just starts clicking. I mean, you can't leave the house without spending $20. It's crazy. It's mind-blowing. Sometimes I'm like, why do we do this? And then I look up at the sky and I know why.
Yeah. It's so delightful to meet you. I've only seen you on stage and on screen, and now we get to meet in person. It was such a brief visit. I hope that someday soon we'll have a chance to talk to you about more of your history and your career and your next awards show.
You're so sweet. I would love that. I mean, the next time, too, you come to New York, we'll have to have like a full lunch, or if I'm back in Colorado, because I can't wait to hear all these things you're about to tell me. I'm so excited. Your magic
Thanks so
stories.
much for making time for me today.
Thank you.
The Tony Award nominee was in town in advance of her cabaret show, Lost in the Stars, at the Garner Galleria. Well, that's the update for this week, but you can find more on our webpage and join me on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. Good night.